Hello. Yes, we stopped it here at the cat photo app. Let me start my own transcription. Yeah, it started. So yeah, the benefit of me transcripting is I'll have ready txt files so that I can actually give it to Gemini to like summarize and get whatever information I need from the live I'm doing immediately, which is of great help for me. You see, even like I'm asking about me, like how is the what can you say about the learner giving these transcripts? It's saying some nice things about me. It's helping for the overall motivation. That's done. Let me continue. So we are here. We finished 60 out of 128 steps. Let's continue with the next. Build an app that is functionally similar to this example project. Okay, this is similar to what we did earlier. Try not to copy the example project. Give it your own personal style. Objective: fulfill the user stories below and get all the tests to pass to complete the lab. Give it your own personal style. What's there here to give the personal style? Let's see. Let's first see these user stories. We need to have a doc type declaration. We need to have HTML language set to English. And let's create the closing HTML also here. Oh, by the way, stock type HTML is also tag, right? My bad. We should have a head element containing a title element with the name of a recipe and the meta element with char set attribute set to UTF-8. That's easy. Let's start with head. And let me write body also just for the structure of it. Yeah, head. What do you want in the head? In the head, we want to have title, and in the title, we want the recipe name. What is the recipe? Choco chip cookies. The next, we got a meta tag with it says char set to UTF-8. Meta is a void element. Let's write the actual content. We have a h1 with the same recipe name, and then we have a p tag it that introduces the recipe. For now, I'll just copy this. Let's see if we want to make any changes later on. This looks similar. What next? You should have a H2 element with the text ingredients for the ingredients section. Wait, we need to have main and all, right? Let's have a main tag. And let's start a section over here. Let's see, you should have a h1 element with the name of your recipe. That is done. You should have a PL that introduces the recipe below the h1. That is also done. You should have one h2 element with the texting for the ingredients section. So let's see the page. So this is ingredients section. Seems like this is one section and this is another section. Let me have a h2 element with the text ingredients. An ordered list. Below the first h2 element. Let's guess. Let's get the elements in the list. The final closing list item. So this looks fine. This part. Now let's continue with the next one. What I would do is just copy the structure. Here is instructions. This doesn't work. This is an ordered list. And what do we have it here? That looks fine. And finally for the image tag, let me have it here. Image source equal to something alt equal to something. Let me paste this link here. What is this? Ingredients for choco chip cookies. Let me break this and see if, yeah, or I'll write this here in the ingredients. I'll have a figure. Fig caption. Let's see. Nice. I have my solution. So what can we call it? Recipe paste. Oh my god, I suck at spellings. Let's see. Yeah, that looks good. This happened in roughly 15 minutes. So this is done. Let's go to HTML fundamentals after a very short break, like 2-3 minutes. I'm back. So yeah, this is looking good, right? I'll be continuing this HTML fundamentals. The development is used as a container to group other elements. What are developments and why, when should you use them? So div is like a container that we use to group other elements. So it doesn't do anything other than grouping other elements. It's like just a container. Here is an example of a div element. Add another paragraph element inside of the div element and see the changes in the preview window to see the previous. I did that. Another paragraph element. Yeah, so I see the new paragraph also. You'll mainly use the development when you want to group HTML elements that will share a set of CSS styles. Okay. We'll learn more about CSS in future lessons and workshops. Even though the development is commonly used in real world code bases, you should be careful not to overuse it. There are times when another element would be more appropriate. For example, if you wanted to divide up your content into sections, then section element would be more appropriate than a div element. Add another section element below the first one. The then inside of the section element a h2 and a p elements. You can use whatever text you like and you will see the changes in the preview. To interact with the example, you'll need to enable the interactive editor. Yeah. So they asked us to add another section element with h2 and p. What I would do is I will use the same given one. Mm, yeah, cursor for nice. I can see it. So here we have divided elements into sections. It has semantic meaning over the development which is not semantic. Semantics are meaning of the words or phrases in a language. In HTML, which is a language, elements have their own semantic meaning too. So this means if you use a section element, the browser will pick up its semantic meaning and understand to treat this as a section on desktops, mobiles, you name it. Development does not has no semantic meaning. And is it most appropriate to use development in your HTML? I guess for this, right, we can group elements using div for similar styling. Section is used to group elements into sections. We have three more things to finish HTML fundamentals and then we can take a break again. What are IDs, classes, and where should you use them? The ID attribute adds a unique identifier to an HTML element. Here is an example of a H1 element with an ID title Okay. Below the H1 element, add a H2 element with the ID set to subtitle. Whatever text you like, for see, this movie is so bad. You can reference the ID. You can reference the ID name of title within your JavaScript or CSS series. To change the text color to red. Where is the CSS? Okay, here it is. Have improved for you in this intro. Don't worry about trying to understand CSS code because you'll learn more about that in future. But if you want to see the text color change to blue, enable the intro. But okay, let's change it to green. Nice, it did change. The hash symbol in front of title tells the computer you want to target an ID with that value. ID names should not be used more than once and they should always be unique. Another thing to note about ID values is that they cannot have spaces in them. Okay, so IDs must be unique and they cannot have spaces. Browsers will see this space as part of the ID, which will lead to unwanted issues when it comes to styling and scripting. ID attribute values should only contain letters, digits, underscores, and dashes. In contrast to the idea, the class attribute value does not need to be unique and can contain spaces. Here is an example of applying a class called box to a div element. Okay. If you wanted to add multiple class names to an element, you can do so by separating the names by a space. Okay. So if we separate names in a class, each name would be a different class. Here is an update sample applying multiple classes to a div element. Box, red box. Hmm. Classes are best used when you want to apply a set of styles to many elements. You want to target as many, it is best to use ID because those values need to be unique. Yes, use ID versus class is wrong. No, this is only right. What happens if you use the same ID more than once in your HTML? So the following is not a correct value for the ID attribute. There shouldn't be spaces. Nice. What are HTML entities and what are some common examples? An HTML entity or character reference is a set of characters used to represent a reserved character in HTML. Let's say I wanted to display the text. Even if you add, yes, when the HTML parser sees the less than symbol following by HTML, it interpret that as HTML aligned. This is why you are not getting the desired result of that on the screen. To fix the issue, you can use HTML entities. Here is an updated example using the correct HTML entities for the less than and greater than symbols. You should see this is a mm, mm, let's try this. So for less than it's ampersand LT semicolon, for greater than it's ampersand GT semicolon. It's the same here. These type of character reference are known as named character references. Named references start with an ampersand sign and end with semicolon. By using, yeah, it's starting with an ampersand and ending with a semicolon. By using a named character, the HTML parcel will not confuse this with an actual HTML element. Another type of character reference would be the decimal numeric reference. Another type of character would be decimal numeric reference. This character reference starts with an ampersand hash symbol followed by semicolon. Single the decimal numeric reference for the less than symbol. Tractor change the code. Nice. Last type of character would be the hexadecimal numeric reference. Character refers. Start with mm, 16, 48 plus 60. So for normal HTML entities, it starts with an ampersand, ends with a semicolon, and have things like LT for less than, GT for greater than. For decimal numeric reference, it's ampersand hash the number then semicolon. For hexadecimal numeric reference, it's ampersand hand hash x and then what is an HTML entry character reference? Group of a set of used to represent a reserved character in HTML. A set of characters used to represent reserved character in HTML. What are the three types of character reference? Named decimal numeric and hexadecimal numeric character references. So the following is the correct syntax for a named character reference. So the following is the correct syntax for a named character reference. Named. It's yeah, this is the one. What is the role of script element in HTML? How how can it be used to link to external JavaScript files? The script element is used to embed executable code. Script element is used to embed executable code. Okay, JavaScript. More used to execute JavaScript is used to add it to the VR web page. Common examples of using include interactive games, image sliders, dynamic forms that validate user input in real time. Example of using the script element in an HTML document. It did happen. Nice. We are getting the alert. It is considered better to link to an external JavaScript instead. Here is an example of script. So we just use the script tag and give it a source of the JavaScript file. Reason why it is not encouraged to place all is because of separation of concerns is a design principle where you separate your program into distinct sections and have each section address a separate concern. In this case, we want to separate our JavaScript code from our HTML code, which attribute is used to link to an external JavaScript file. Source, which is what is separation of concerns. A design plan where you separate your into distinct sections and just the following is correct syntax for linking to an external JavaScript source equal to. Yeah, this is done. Mm, I'll take another break. I'll see you back in few minutes. I'm back. Let's continue with the next steps. So, this a new thing, building a bookstore. So, it's like the theory part is the most time consuming thing. I really like the workshops and the labs. So, here let's see. H1, we have a bunch of buttons here. Let's see. Learn how to write buttons. In the workshop, you'll build a bookstore page by creating book cards that display information about different books. You'll practice organizing content using div elements, classes, and IDs. Start your bookstore page by creating the HTML boilerplate. Sure. Doc type HTML, HTML opening and closing. We'll give lang equal English. Let's create the head opening and closing. Similarly, body opening and closing. Okay, let's move title inside the head. Title XYZ store page. Title. Now improve the structure of your HTML to ensure your page is encoded correctly. Yeah, that's a meta tag. Meta char set to UTF-8. Lastly, add a body element. I did this way before itself. In this step, add an HTML element with the text XYZ bookstore. Let me make a H1. Close it. Done. Below the HTML, add a P element with the text. Browse our collection of amazing books! Exclamation. Let me close the paragraph. I made a mistake. Yeah, I'll be a supporter after getting a job. Thanks for asking. I really want to support Freecodecamp. the div element is used as a container to group other HTML elements. You will mainly use when you want to group HTML that will share a set of CSS styles. Below the add a div element container for your book cards. Okay. The class attribute is used to identify one or more elements for styling. Unlike ID attributes, class names do not need to be unique. Multiple elements can share the same class. Simple code. Yeah. Add a class attribute to your div element and set its value to card container. You can add multiple elements inside a div element to group related content. You can add multiple elements to a div element to group related content inside the element having a wait. You can add multiple elements in a div element to group related content. Yes, makes sense. Inside the element having a class of card container, create another div element. This div will represents the first book card. Oh, so we are creating a div inside a div. You see, the outer div is like card container, but the inner one is like representing each card. Mm, so the class of this is going to be card. So it's like we'll have multiple of this inside, and just because this div is containing these multiple cards, it's giving the class as card container. The ID attribute adds a unique identifier to a HTML element. Each ID should be unique within a page and should be only used once. ID values cannot contain and should only contain letters, digits, underscores, and dashes. Yeah, add an array to your console and set its value to uh, okay, ID equal to Sally Adventure Book. Inside the first element having a class of card, inside the first element having a class of card, add a HTML with the text. Okay. Below the H2 element in the below the H2 element in the first element having the class of card, add a P element with the following text. Okay, here it is. Yeah, that's done. The button element is used to create clickable buttons on a web page. Nice. Buttons are interactive elements that users can click to perform actions. Add a button element inside the element that has a button. Given the button, a class attributes is set to button class equal to button and then the text by now. Okay. Why now? Button. Now create a second, add another div element with the class attribute set to card. Notice how you can reuse the same class. Apply consistent styling. We can create another div and class as card like before. I'll just copy paste this. Add an itinerary to your second and set its value to okay. Dave cooking book. Instead of having with the text. I really like Freecodecamp. Like practicing these things will definitely build the muscle memory of typing things. P element. As he learns to one recipe at a time. Nice. Add a button element with the class attribute set to button and then text by now. I can actually just copy paste this. There is no difference at all. Remember, an HTML looks like this. Below the element with the class, add a below the p element. Oh, I just did half of what was asked. Div element, create a div with a class button container. Add two button elements. I'll reuse this. Two button elements. The class is button itself for both of them. The ID for one is view cart button. Another ID is checkout button. View cart checkout. Oh, that's done. Nice. 84 out of 28, 128. I think we have done some 65%, but it's not linear. I get it. Understanding how HTML affects SEO. Let me take a short break. Very short. I'm back. Let's continue. What is the role of metadata description and how does it affect SEO? SEO or search engine is a practice that optimizes web pages so they become rank higher on search engines. Just a minute. I got something to do. I need to just stop this for now. Let me log this as 8, 84 out of 128. Yeah, bye.